we read something amazing in the Haggadah of Pesach. There's a statement like this, that the Haggadah is expressing the greatness of telling over the miracles and the light and the kindnesses of leaving Egypt. And the phrase in the Haggadah is like this: V'chol hamarbeh l'saper b'tziat Mitzrayim, harei zeh meshubach. Anybody who is acquainted to speaking profusely, a lot, abundantly, about the miracles connected to leaving Egypt, in other words, the goodness and the kindness, thanksgiving to Hashem for the leaving of Egypt, harei zeh meshubach, this is praiseworthy. So the Arizal explains on the word meshubach, this is something which is praiseworthy. He says praiseworthy in kindnesses. To explain, Rav Nosson gives an amazing dimension on this phrase. Rabbi Nachman teaches, and Rav Nosson builds on this idea, that one of the greatest accomplishments that a Jew can do in this world to get him as close as possible to the light and the mind frame of the world to come is what's called giving thanks. Thanksgiving. Thanking Hashem for the miracles and the kindnesses and the goodnesses that you recognize that He has done and that He is doing and that He will do for you also. This attitude in this world, in this concealed, lowly world, to be able to have that mentality and attitude is the spitz, is the pinnacle. It's considered a foretaste of the world to come, a delight, sha'ashua of olam haba. So, the first initial key for any thanksgiving by the Jewish people, believe it or not, is the leaving of Egypt. Why is it such a big mitzvah? Every day we have an obligation, a few times in the morning prayers and in the evening prayers, but every day to touch upon the concept of and making mention of our leaving Egypt. What is the idea to remember that we've left Egypt? That if now I feel, and Yetzer Hara makes me feel so low, so miserable, so nothing to be happy about. So we are taught there's one thing you can always connect to as the backbone for everything else, and that's called giving thanks to Hashem. But I can't find what to give thanks to Hashem about because there's so much darkness. So start with something that happened already, initially. What? Leaving Egypt. That happened already. That Hashem opened up the doors, took us out of Egypt. This was the greatest kindness, because if it wasn't for our leaving Egypt back then, we would have never received the Torah, we would never enter the Holy Land, we would never become the nation who we are now today, still after thousands of years that we're still standing, right? The initial process of this to begin to happen, believe it or not, was Hashem taking us out of Egypt, the Exodus. And by a Jew remembering this kindness, so then he begins to enter the mind frame of thanksgiving, and then other ideas begin to pop up. Thank you, Hashem, for waking me up in the morning. Thank you that I can move my fingers. A person begins to appreciate every tiny detail and realizes that this is a miracle, and realizes that this is something worth thanking Hashem, and it's not granted. And when you get into the mind frame, so then you're able to put down all the negative thoughts, because always the negative thoughts are saying, yeah, but, in other words, okay, you're able to move your fingers, you're able to open your eyes, but look how much you're suffering financially, look how much you're going through with your family issues, and your health issues, and your children, and this, and nothing's working out, and your avodat Hashem, you're not getting up on time in the morning, you're not connecting to the Torah like you should be, you're watching and looking at the wrong things. So Yetzer Hara is always trying to counter with a negative thought. So what we have to do is to keep on adding more and more good thoughts of thanksgiving to get to these good thoughts by giving thanks to Hashem, and that way we can nullify the bad. So with this idea, Rav Nosson explains this statement from the Haggadah like this: V'chol hamarbeh, anyone who is marbeh. The word marbeh, we said, translates as being a lot, doing a lot of. The word marbeh in Torah literature is especially found in the usage when it comes to the laws of forbidden mixtures, ta'aruvot. For example, when there was a drop of milk that mixed with a meat bowl, or a non-kosher item with a kosher item, so the law is like this: You're not supposed to let this happen in the first place. Lechatchila, you're not allowed to mix in milk and meat and try to mevatel it, try to nullify it, because there's ways of nullifying a forbidden mixture. We have what's called batel b'shishim, that an item at times, in most cases, that if you have 1/60th of the forbidden item and the other 59 out of the 60 parts are the kosher item, so it nullifies the forbidden part and you're allowed to eat the whole mixture now because it's become nullified. It's called batel b'shishim. Halacha is like this. There's Torah law in many cases that when accidentally it happened already, a forbidden combination. So what do you do in that case? You're allowed to, if it's not yet up to the ratio of 1/60th, it's maybe like 154, 153, 150th, you're allowed to bring up more of the kosher item to make it until it becomes actually 1/60th. Marbe alav umevatelo. That's the wording in Torah law, in the Talmud, that you're allowed to marbe, add on more of the kosher item, of the majority item, the good item. For example, if it's milk and meat, you have 1 drop of milk in 50 items of the meat dish, so you add more of the meat in order to nullify the milk, if it's already happened. Again, there's halachic details, speak to your rabbi when it comes to what cases and everything. We're speaking about the concept of this idea that exists. Marbe alav umevatelo. Rav Nosson uses this idea to explain here also. V'chol ha'marbeh, if you see the Yetzer Hara is attacking you of negative, all day, negative thoughts. So what do you have to do? V'chol ha'marbeh, anyone who's trying to marbeh, you want to bring in more of the good. So what do you have to do? If the negative thoughts are coming to bother you, you have to now bring in more good thoughts to nullify him, because he's already coming. It's a forbidden mixture. I'm good. I'm a Jew. I'm a good person. And the Yetzer Hara is trying to make me feel bad and garbage and low. So he's coming to, now the ratio is maybe 1-20, 1-30. I have to bring more good in order to break him. He's broken the evil at 1/60th. So what I have to do is to bring in more and more goodnesses and kindnesses. How? By thanking Hashem for leaving Egypt, remembering the leaving of Egypt, which includes in it any other kindnesses that happen after the leaving, after the Exodus, after the leaving of Egypt. So v'chol ha'marbeh lesaper b'tziat Mitzrayim, anyone who tries to nullify the evil by being marbeh, by adding in a lot more good of what? Through telling and of telling the miracles of leaving Egypt, Harezeh meshubach, what you gain in the end, Harezeh, this is how you come to what's called meshubach, shevach, praising Hashem, but like the Arizal explains in the Kavanot, kindnesses. Because Rabbi Nachman teaches phenomenal in this lesson, Likutei Moran, part 2, lesson 2, that when a person is in negativity, in danger, in bad, so we need to bring the kindnesses. How do you do that? By giving thanks to Hashem. Giving thanks to Hashem is not only when you've come out of a danger and a difficult situation, but even and especially when you are in the difficult and dangerous, bad situation, to now bring the chesed, the kindness in the situation, start giving thanks to Hashem. So again, that's the meaning. V'chol ha'marbeh lesaper b'tziat Mitzrayim, harei zeh meshubach.